Okay, we're here. Yo. Don't you stop. You are crazy. He kills me on both channels. What do we do? Yo, we're back. Same me, different channel. Same shit, different channel. Yo. What I thought about playing on this channel was actually, at least for tonight, I wanted to play another game. I just don't know what game. Probably Warhammer related, but like I really don't know. Yo. I was thinking of doing Total War. I was thinking of playing Total War. Vermintide? No, I deleted Darktide. I'm not going to play Darktide. The reason I deleted Darktide is because I felt nothing while playing it, and that's not a good thing. Like, even with Vermintide, I still probably won't feel anything. Now, there's no variety games like that. This is more Warhammer stuff. Like, this is like variety gaming, but like niche gaming. Did you know? Quick thing. You guys know Alithanar? The high elf archer dude? He was voiced by one of the Zach and Cody brothers. Did you know that? I don't know their names, but he voiced them. One of them did. Like the Sweet Life of Zach and Cody, I think way back when, like 2000 something, was a show. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, you never know who's a fan of anything, right? Henry Cavill is a fan of 40K, and now he's making a whole movie, or rather TV series, right? That is cool. That's very cool.
Shut up, you dickhead, now fuck off!
Nobody knows who's a fan. Again. Babylon, thank you, man. Thanks, buddy. Thanks, buddy. Dylan and Cole Sprouse. Yeah, it was those guys. I'll suck Henry if you let me play a game of 40K. I mean, when you grow up, unless you grow up into like into wealth or into fucking like nobility or any of this shit, I mean, we all start somewhere, dude. Like before he was like famous in movies, I'm sure he was loving Warhammer, right? I'm not rooting for anyone. I haven't kept up with wrestling in years. It has been a long while since I've seen anything wrestling, and unfortunately, I think it'll stay that way. We used to like order on pay-per-view WrestleMania, and we'd all sit around and eat food together, like as a family. But that was a long time ago. A very, very long time ago. Super long ago, fortunately. We do need to figure out what we'd like to do. Let me see what Warhammer games I have. Darktide, Dawn of War, Dawn of War Soulstorm, Dawn of War Winter Assault, Dawn of War Retribution, Dawn of War 3. I have 50 hours in Dawn of War 3. I don't know how, I don't know why. Warhammer Chaos Bane, we beat that game. Battle Sector, I think I've seen that game, yeah. Is that like more of the hexagonal thing? Used to play as kids. I mean, even I started Warhammer as a kid, right? You got to start somewhere. Bretonia? Not really. Do I look like I support Bretonia? Does this stream look very Bretonian? I mean, they're fine. I like all fantasy races, but I don't really enjoy Britonia. You know what I mean? It's not my favorite thing, but I know people do like it. Make sure to exhaust dialogue for NPCs. Who knows what info they might give you? Or if they just go insane and kill me. Yeah. Do I dare try and play Dawn of War 3? Do I dare even download that game to see how bad it was? Like, it's like Valorant, where it's a morbid curiosity, where I once played, you know, Dawn of War 1, Dawn of War 2, and then they fucked up Dawn of War 3, and I've played it, beat the campaign, did everything. It's not the multiplayer I'd play it for. It's like single player campaign. You know what's crazy about Dawn of War 3 as well? That was so funny is they brought out Dawn of War 3. You finish the game, and at the end of the game, there was a teaser for the Necrons. The Necrons were supposed to come out for Dawn of War 3, and the game bombed so badly that they just shafted it. They shelved everything, and they're like, we're done. And so that teaser at the end of 3 is to nothing. It's weird. But that just goes to show you that when you have such a good formula, and you've got like such a hardcore fan base for 1 and 2, that when you take a beloved franchise and you turn it on its head and you make it something it's not, people are probably not going to be interested, right? Dawn of War 3 really went with the MOBA-esque, esport-esque. They tried to push more of a competitive narrative into that game, and it really shit the bed. Dawn of War 2 Retribution? I have it. Yeah, I think I played it way back when. Isn't that the one with the guard? Dawn of War 2 wasn't my favorite. Although I will say Dawn of War 1's the best. Then it would have to be Dawn of War 2, then Dawn of War 3, right? Halo fans after 343 took over. Yeah, I mean, people have different visions. People want to push the game into a different direction, but like when you do that, you alienate what made it popular, you know? Last stand play mode, yeah. Well, when I played that game, I played as the in terms of like the last stand shit, I was playing the mech boy. I forgot his name. I want to hear your brutal, honest take on Dawn of War 3. No, the orc. Played the orc. I mean, Dawn of War 3, the thing about the game was that not everything was terrible. The aesthetic was off, the gameplay was off, but the voice acting was amazing. Mostly. Mostly. Like, the crazy thing to me is Dawn of War 1 and Warhammer Total War have some of the best voice acting in any Warhammer game, period. I think everyone would agree, right? Everybody would agree. Because the voice acting is so top notch. Like, Dawn of War 1 came out, I think it was early 2000s, and the voice acting was literally unmatched. It set the tone for the universe. It set the tone for, like, we can literally go listen to some of the voice acting, actually. Why not, right? It was impressive. Extremely impressive. It was good. Bro, Dawn of War 1, yeah, it was amazing. I love the voice acting. Super clean. Uh, and you know what's so crazy about it, too, is that it was so iconic. Everyone who's into Warhammer, and if you know of Warhammer video games, you love Total War, or not Total War, sorry, Dawn of War, right? Like it will forever stay in people's hearts. So if we're looking at this, Dawn of War came out in 2004, right here. Dawn of War 2004, right? Uh the trailer, the intro trailer, dude. Dawn of War. Holy shit, it was so nice. This was 18 years ago. Like, it's just so good. Done. Make the window bigger. Bro, this was the sickest shit ever. You know what? Maybe I should just play the... Is this like the upscaled version? Remastered with neural network AI? Original or upscaled? Probably original. Keep it... Yeah, I was going to say. I mean, the quality is kind of ass, though, for YouTube. The coolest shit about this, though, why it's so impressive, is that I think this was the first time that Warhammer 40k was shown in this light. Shown in... That wasn't the orcs, that's the guy, that's the sergeant. It's like the most iconic, like, meme scream. This was the most... This was so revolutionary for 40k, because before this, all you had was miniatures, and you had, like, older games and stuff like that. And it's always cool to see something... Think of, like, League of Legends, right? Isn't it cool to play the game, see the characters, whatever, and then you see a cinematic with them, and they're no longer pieces in a game, they're living characters in a universe? That's what this shit was to 40k. This showed you what was going on. People moving in real time and fucking bullets flying and war. Like, that is just... This cinematic, when you saw it, you were like, wow, what a fucking intro. 2004. Remember, before we saw any of this, these were plastic miniatures on a tabletop. Imagine being a Space Marine player and seeing this cinematic. Imagine being an orc player and seeing this cinematic. Like, what the fuck? That's badass. Imagine being a kid and seeing all of this violence and death, and you're like, holy shit, my mother will beat me if I'm shown watching this. Like, it's good. It's awesome. And then, of course, there was Dawn of War 2. So that was Dawn of War 1. Dawn of War 2's cinematic was actually pretty good. It was pretty good. Like, really good, actually. So this is the second game. Was it a direct sequel? I think you actually get the same characters. It's like Gabriel Angelos in all three. So, Bro's still alive.
More of us are coming. This planet will be ours.
You lost this war before you started, fool.
Primary threat spotted. Moving into position.
That's such an iconic voice. Does anyone recognize who this guy is? Not the face, but like the voice actor?
Moving into position. Spotted. Primary threat spotted.
I swear to God, I've heard this guy's voice like countless times.
Moving into position.
I'll never get it though.
Neutralizing. Take cover! Straight from the sky, brothers! This planet is ours, witch.
No, this planet is theirs.
Oh, the Tyranids. You think Dawn of War 2 is the GOAT? Dawn of War 1 is better than 2. You got it. Like, come on. Dawn of War 2 is better than... Dawn of War 1 is better than 2. Easily. But that doesn't mean Dawn of War 2 was bad. You like 2 more than 1? What? I guess it's subjective. I think we can all agree 2 and 1 are better than 3. The trailer for 3 was pretty cool, but the game was ass. So this is the trailer for 3. Once we get through
Ce que ça prend pour être un leader dans le domaine des véhicules.
Yeah. No. Dawn of War 2 campaign was better. Dawn of War 1's campaign was kind of... I mean, maybe it's nostalgia. The campaign was alright, though. French ads, yes. Hey, Becklin.
In darkness, I shall be light. In times
I wanted to get Dawn of War 3 on sale, but they didn't put much updates post-launch, right? They quit the game post-launch instantly. They're like, we're gone.
of doubt, I shall keep faith. In throes of rage, I shall hone my craft. In vengeance, I shall have no mercy. In the midst of battle, I shall have no fear. In the face of death, I shall have no remorse.
The trailer, I find, was more brutal than the actual game. Like, yeah, you still have, like, the in-sync death animations, but the trailer felt much more grittier than what the game was, you know? If you've played the game, that is. Dawn of War 3 definitely sucked. No, it was bad. What else did they have way back when? Hang on. So good, the trailer. Shame the game is not. That's what everyone says. They had a bunch of trailers actually. They had like the 40K 9th edition trailer that came out for like the sake of 9th.
In the darkness between the stars, the weak and the faithless find no deliverance.
2020 was 9th edition. Was there a 10th edition cinematic, or did it just roll around and then go away? Because I got back into 40K during 10th, I think. The Horus Heresy... Yeah, the Horus Heresy trailer was pretty good. Yeah. There was a 10th edition one? This one. Oh, no. I got back into Warhammer during, well, 40K for 9th, I think. 10th edition was Space Marines against Tyranids, right? It had to have been. So for me, I guess it was 2020 for like 40K again. Because I kind of gave up on 40K for a bit, but...
We are raised to believe that the God Emperor watches over us all. And so we are charged to cleanse the mutant, the heretic, the alien. We must not falter. We are his sword.
Wait.
We are his...
2020 was the Sisters of Battle relaunch, right? The starting... This was Indomitus? Is that what this one was? 9th edition starter set was Indomitus, right? It was Necrons against Marines, Space Marines. What the hell was 10th called? It was Space Marines against Tyranids, but like, what was that one called? Very big update to Sisters. Yeah. I've seen the Astartes. Yeah, it's really good.
His wrath. Even in the face of death, we shall not submit.
My hand.
Suffering is our prayer.
Leviathan. That's what it was. It was Leviathan.
Faith
Yeah.
is our armor. In battle, he offers us redemption. And for those who prove worthy, the Emperor sends forth his angels.
Our Imperium is besieged. Across 1,000 worlds, we fight for our survival. Those that would tear humanity down are legion. Our forces are few. Our enemies many. There is no respite. There is no mercy. And in our darkest hour, a spiteful universe awakens forgotten evils to break us. The galaxy burns, yet still we stand, the last bulwark against the terror. And while we draw breath, we will fight. For in this new dark age, there is only war.
Have I seen the new Flash Gets parody animation they did? Yeah, it was Space King or something. Salamander's series of videos. Were they official? They've done so many cinematics. A lot of Space Marine cinematics. And this one not a play on like 10th edition? I swear this was a play on like the StarCraft 2 trailer where they suit up Tychus, right? I'm pretty sure this is the same thing where they're suiting up a Space Marine, right? Because that was a cool fucking trailer. That StarCraft trailer was badass.
Victory. That is what the preachers
It's not
cry
this one.
from the...
It's not? Really? What was that from then?
In the darkness between the stars.
Oh my god, bro. I don't want to see this shit, brother. Hide the ad. Hide the ad. Gross, bro. Gross. Skip the ad. Wait, was this a standalone trailer? Warhammer 40K becoming a Space Marine scene. From where? This was a standalone trailer. Was this like... I can't remember these. Because they're usually in front of some sort of like reveal. 10th edition was... Did we get Primaris in 9th or 10th? It must have been 9th. Primaris have been around for like what? 2 editions so far? And this is clearly a Primaris. 9th, yeah. Eighth edition, really? Oh my god, is it Darth Vader?
I accept these burdens as the Imperium bleeds. I accept these burdens, knowing no fear. I accept these burdens as an angel of the Emperor. I sheathe my form in this second skin. This veil of machine muscle and false nerves. I stand firm against the alien, the mutant, the heretic. I grant no mercy. I give no ground. I bear the Imperialis. The symbol of loyalty unbroken. With reverence, I receive actuation, awakening the armored spirit. With pride, I wear the symbol of my chapter and join my brothers in war.
That ending scene is absolutely sick. Like, I'm not really a big Space Marine fan, but, like, you gotta admit, like, it's just the StarCraft trailer, but with a Space Marine, and that doesn't make it any less badass.
I am iron. I am wrath. I am doom.
Space Marine fanboys frothing at the mouth. Hell, it's about time. Yeah. I mean, it's just good. Like, it's good. And then they also had all of those old Warhammer, they had all the older Mark of Chaos. Like, they had tons of cool trailers, like Battle March trailer. Warhammer Fantasy is sick, man. People be sleeping.
It has been a long and bloody year since the end of the Great War. While the Emperor has claimed victory, the peace that so many heroes gave their lives for has not settled on the land.
No, this is Mark of Chaos.
The hordes of chaos, though leaderless, continue to take
the weird
northlands
RTS.
of the Empire. Vicious warriors attack merchant caravans and raid isolated farms and villages. The Emperor's battle-weary soldiers patrol the forests and hills, ever vigilant against bloodthirsty warbands intent on looting and slaughter.
This game was so bizarre. I played it. It's like Total War Light. I don't really know how to explain it. I've never played a game like it, but it's a little odd. It is like Total War Light, though. I wonder if they're going to come back with like an old world cinematic trailer. Maybe. I doubt it, but like now that this setting is not completely gone, I wonder if they would do that. I wonder if it's worth the money. Why is that bald guy always getting beat up? There's a lot of bald people in Warhammer and a lot of bald people who play Warhammer. Something like Horus Heresy, but for fantasy. Something like that. I mean, it'd be cool. Probably to hype a new edition after a little while. Maybe. I'm surprised they didn't do one for, like, Bretonia versus the Tomb Kings. You know? That would have been cool. I mean, there's other videos as well, like Thorgrim, Warhammer All Cinematics. I mean, This was Mark of Chaos. This one was... I forgot what game this was tied to. I think I had seen it literally 2 seconds ago. How a Total War Warhammer 40k, how will it look like? Like Warhammer Total War, but with more... Battle March, I think that's what it was. Yeah, Battle March. It would look like Total War, Warhammer Fantasy, but like with more terrain options, right? And more of a... you'd have to kind of like make the shooting in the game a little bit more nuanced, you know, streamlined a bit, but like, you know, since every army has access to shooting and it is 40k, shooting is the biggest thing over melee. You know, you'd probably want that system to work very, very well. But I would say to make 40k Total War work, you need a cover system. Company of Heroes and Big. Something like that. Yeah. Yeah. Something like that. If that doesn't sum up the orcs, they either instantly run at everything like psychopaths, or they show up when they want to show up, and they shit on everything regardless of what just happened. This whole fucking city was just taken by Chaos. The Empire's finished. And the Chaos are like, yeah, take them out. You know, get them out of here. This is our little town now, whatever. And no shit, the orcs would show up and, like, make everything miserable. Sums up the orcs pretty well. Yeah, Warhammer Battle March. This was Age of Reckoning, right? I think of all the Warhammer fantasy trailers for the games, I think this was my favorite. Where they have the Slayer do the one-off with, like, this is the Age of Reckoning, and then they had, like, the DLC, or Warhammer Online. I was gonna say, man, these are all like early 2000s games. I was gonna say, like, where the fuck have all the cinematics been, or any fantasy games? But like, they gave us the greatest fantasy game of all time through Total War, and they did so many cinematics for that game. Some of which are like kind of stop, like it's images and stuff like that. But for the ones that aren't, and they're like the in-game engine stuff, like it's awesome. Yeah. Well, he had the fucking axe shoved into his gut, like. I think he already had something in him, and then yeah, with the axe. This was Age of Reckoning.
Dwarves fight a desperate battle against the savage greenskins. The Empire is under
Okay, maybe
siege
this
by
trailer was the
marauding
best. I
armies
think
of
for the way back
chaos.
when fantasy
And across
trailers,
the
this
great
had to have been the
ocean,
best.
the
Age of
Dark
Reckoning was too
Elves
good.
assault Ulthuan, the island home of the High Elves. Faced with certain doom, elves, men, and dwarves have united their forces to form an alliance of order. Should they fail, the forces of destruction will conquer all.
It's Lord of the Rings with guns and helicopters.
This is the dawn of a new age. An age where the fate of nations will be forged in the fire
Mortal
of
Empires is
war.
amazing. Yeah, it's really good.
This is the age of reckoning.
Craziest thing in fantasy. You've got literal savages running in with clubs and blunt weapons, muscle-bound monsters, and you've got a 4-foot hairy little fucking manlet with a shotgun and a fucking sentry gun, gunning them down. These people sling poop and throw weapons, blunt weapons. It's so fancy. The dwarf is just drinking. He's like, what the fuck are we doing here? Why am I defending this worthless city? That's the first thing he does. I'm sick of this shit. As good as these trailers are, you just think immortal empires. Immortal empires. Or like, you know, the cinematic stuff they did here. Where immortal empires. Like, holy smokes. It's good. It's really good. Why is it 480p? Get the hell out of here. This is such a sick trailer.
Storm clouds gather. Our borders are beset by evil, both mundane and immortal. How long can we withstand this onslaught? We must form an alliance. We either die alone or survive together.
I concur. This threat is beyond any of us. With the Azur's guidance,
This is just another Elgate's game. I see many leaders here, but you even speak for your people.
High King, this is not the time for short-sightedness.
Short? There'll be no alliance with elves while I'm High King. Only a reckoning.
We must not be blinded by our own need for power. This is the moment. Your choices will decide the fate of this world. And all that inhabit it. Make the right one!
You know what's crazy? The battles do look like this. If you just had, like, really bad unit formations, they would look like this. Absolutely. They're as crazy as they look in the trailer if you stack all your units together. It's good. Like, I can't believe they literally saved fantasy. They really went all in with Creative Assembly doing this shit. Seriously, they did a lot, man. Who would have thought the fucking Chaos Dwarves? Who gave a fuck about the Chaos Dwarves? I know some people loved them, some people played them. But, like, how many people actually remembered them? Actually knew anything about them? And with Vampire Coast, same thing. And Cathay, like, Creative Assembly really loves... The people who work on this game absolutely love what they do. Yeah, like, that's crazy. Too bad it's the last one. I mean, it kind of needs to be the last one. There shouldn't be a fourth game. It doesn't really make sense. Like, it's just crazy to me. As a kid, you'd see all this shit in books, and you'd read little tidbits, and you'd see, like, a drawing of them, and you'd be like, oh my god, that's so crazy. Look how crazy they look. And then maybe you'd see the miniatures, and they're like, oh, a little ghoulish, little cartoonish. Or the Forge World stuff, you know, it gave you a glimpse as to, like, what the army would look like. And all these years later, there's, like, a cinematic with them being brought to life. Same thing with Coast, right? Like Coast was, I think, shown initially in a magazine, The White Dwarf, and you're looking at him and you're like, pirate zombies, vampire pirate zombies, like that's cool. I wonder what they'd look like, outside of their little miniatures. What would they look like if they were real, you know?
Forsaken, abandoned to the dark. What choice but to follow the flame? The fire to tear down the old ways, burning away all fear, doubt, and weakness. Nothing remains but power and ambition. This roaring fire will always demand more. More fuel. More sacrifice. The fiercest heat to forge the hardest steel. Destiny. Rising from within the crucible. To seize the world with
Dude,
this
Astrogoth is such a weird looking dude. It's so dwarf, but so bizarre. Yeah, dwarves were a niche, but somewhat popular. Yeah, like Vampire Coast is certainly a lot less popular, and I think it's just because they never had miniatures. That's the biggest thing. They never had like a legitimate release. Like the Chaos Dwarves way back when had like the lords, the warriors, the weapons, like the war machines, I believe too, and then they also had the Forge World stuff, which I guess was more of the monsters and elites. Like they were absolutely popular, but they were still less popular than like the mainline stuff that was released. Because they got discontinued, right? I'm surprised they never kept up. And then later down the line, they're like, yeah, Forge World, here you go. Vampire Coast was, I believe, from a White Dwarf. And they also had maybe 1 or 2 miniatures. And I think they were also reintroduced during Dreadfleet, I believe. Dreadfleet being like the naval battles game. The one that came after Man of War. Yeah. I mean, they're cool. I mean, I don't know if you've seen... Well, they were also in the... the craziest thing is that they were in the Monstrous Arcanum. I don't know if you ever had that book. I still have it in Toronto. It's the old world, like, Forge World kit rules with a bunch of other shit. They had rules for Shard Dragons, which were the dwarf-controlled drakes that they put runic collars on. They had the fucking Necrofex Colossus. Who the fuck would have thought of that? How do you even play the Necrofex? Like, I just remember looking through the book and all this shit, and I'm like, that's cool. But I don't really remember how you'd play half of the stuff. Practically no consideration of an actual army until Total War. Yeah. Running Leviathan. I mean, maybe they'll do it. I think they should, because it would be cool, but like it would be quite a bit of money to kind of like bring the Vampire Coast back, right? Because you need heroes and lords and units and monsters, and you'd just pull it from Total War. But even then, it's like, do you really have the funding to make that work, and will people care enough to want it, right? Skeleton and zombie pirates. Well, way back when, they used the old militia kit, and they used the zombie kit, right? You kit bashed militia and old zombies, which is cool. I think that's exactly how you should do it, because the militia kit is like perfect. If you need any like pirates or generic, deckhands, the militia kit was the best. Arna said I have some living pirates. Anything from, like, you can even go back and get Long Drong's Pirate Slayers if you really wanted to. I don't know how lore friendly that would be, but Why didn't they make a Total War Helldivers? What? Ever. Just make a 40k game.
Fire is to see it burn first.
Very chaotic. I'm looking at images of like the old, not official, but like you talk about Vampire Coast minis. I mean, everything was basically converted or 3D printed, right? Like they had the deck gunners. Just saw them. Yeah, these guys. This is from the old militia, the zombies, the skeleton kit. But this looks so good. Doesn't it look good? I mean, if you like the aesthetic, it looks good. They had like the deck droppers, which are the old like vampire bats mixed with, again, like the Empire stuff and the zombie stuff. I mean, it's old. It's old, but the army's kind of an old concept. They had it in the White Dwarf. Vampire Coast. Was it really this? Was it, eh? That was it in the White Dwarf. It was this unit. Which I won't be clicking. Any of them. Pirate Zombie Deckhands. That is cool. That shit reminds me of, like, Scooby-Doo. Although I think this was the official image they had used. Because at one point, they actually sold them. Eons ago. Vampire Coast, Warhammer. Right here. That was them. Zombie Pirates of the Vampire Coast. Right there. That is the official release for Vampire Coast. That's it. And I believe it literally just came with militia and zombies, skeletons. Definitely the old zombie box. I like the old zombie box. Maybe I'm just a boomer, but I think the old zombies kit was really cool. It was very modular. Like you could do a bunch. Yeah, it was. You could convert it easier. Exactly. That's why I like it so much, because you can do whatever the fuck you want with it. They existed. They're right there. Everything else is kind of that's cool though. All the handmade stuff is really cool. It's a little funky sometimes, but that's very Vampire Coast. Like that shit looks good. Varying levels of. We'll put them in the Discord, bro. If you want to show shit off, put them in the Discord. I'm pretty sure what happened was, I mean, even this, right? The what were these guys called again? I forgot. Like, all of this happened because Total War happened, right? Because Total War was a thing, all of this became a thing. If I was to do Vampire Coast, I mean, I'm never going to do it, but, like, the idea of having them all on a deck is really cool. Animated Hulks, yeah. But what are you playing them as? Because you need rules, I would assume, right? Tomb Kings are one of my favorite fantasy armies by far, but I like most of the fantasy armies. Yeah, Tomb Kings came back. Crypt Horrors. Oh, right, you're using... Play them as cities, dude. I think... Well, are you playing Age of Sigmar or Warhammer Fantasy? Oh, for the old world? Okay, never mind. You could still... You know what would be better then? You play him as Empire. You play him as the Empire. That's what I'd do. Because then you could have all of your state troops as, like, deckhands. You could have your cannons, the carronades, like... Oh, that's cool. I don't really... You could have Ogre Mercenaries as, like, your... hulking, the animated hulks and whatnot. I mean, it's up to you, but... Don't have enough pistols, saving most... Pistols. You know where you get the pistols from? Is the, Outriders. If you want only pistols, you go with Outriders. Go on, like, eBay and start buying Outrider bits. That's what I was doing at one point. Because the Outriders each come with, like, dual pistols, and I think there's also pistols, that you can get elsewhere. They're cool, though. It's pretty cool. People definitely don't care too much for the Vampire Coast anymore. Or ever, for that matter. I mean, you look at this and it's like Pirates of the Caribbean, which is cool. But I like the Tomb Kings. A lot of people seem to like the Tomb Kings, yeah. A lot of Tomb King fans everywhere. Okay, so a few things actually went on order. Nothing I care about, really, but... Gnomes. Much more of a painter than a converter. If I'm doing something converted, it's because it's been given to me. The sculpts are great. I like the sculpts, yeah. They're cool. You know, the greatest thing about fantasy sculpts is their simplicity. They don't try to be something they're not. That's what I love so much about them. It's a skeleton, it's a zombie, it's an orc, it's a dwarf with a gun, it's a dwarf with a crossbow. It's very typical, you know, super easy to read, super easy to get. And they look great. And they're all hand sculpted as well. They're not like digital like these are. Although these look great too, but there is a charm to the hand sculpted stuff from way back when. Re-release coming in May. You think re-release of what? Are the dwarves coming in May? Is that what they said? Versions are like my thing at my locals. People ask me, make them shit. That's AOS has really good sculpts, yeah. I do like the look of AOS stuff. But it does, like, personally, I'll always prefer Fantasy to Age of Sigmar, but I do like AOS. But they always have good sculpts, yeah. I think the biggest thing is, like, when it comes to the distinction of, like, Fantasy to Age of Sigmar, you need a drastic visual change. You know, Fantasy is supposed to be your typical Hello Tolkien with guns, and then Age of Sigmar is like Hello Tolkien with crazier guns. It works. It looks good. Doing Marines for a friend made me not. Maybe want to slam my head into a wall. But Space Marines? I feel like if you're painting any sort of like 40k Marine, you just get an airbrush and you're good. To me, that's like the only way I could ever paint Space Marines is just airbrush everything because it's all flat paneling. Well, the elves are gone. Like, I don't even want to look at my Age of Sigmar stuff right now because what I was initially going to do was, before the old world was announced, I was making an Age of Sigmar army, and I was basing it off of cities, but using all dwarf minis. All of this will be gone. And I'm glad. I am glad it's gone. Because Why do we have fantasy minis sitting in an AOS army? It's good that it's gone. Like, all of these elves, put them back in fantasy. Put them back in fantasy. The dwarves, they're already going back to fantasy, so... Gone, gone, gone. It'll all be gone. Just make new stuff. Right? What if it's like the continuation of the gyrocopter in Age of Sigmar, and it's just bigger and fancier, and it's Age of Sigmarified? Like, that's cool. Because realistically, I don't think you still have the same exact stuff that you came with from fantasy. Not to mention all those people at that point are long dead. Well, that's not to say that, like, take all of the dwarves away and don't give them anything. Just give them Age of Sigmar dwarves. That's the biggest thing. Just give them AOS dwarves. Right? Like, the dwarves in cities don't need to resemble the dispossessed. They can, but not with the literal old sculpts. Right? Like, I like these sculpts, but they're just fantasy. You know, they're really fantasy. Space wolves are the only space marine paint, but you can still do assault. I mean, you could do any base coat for space marine armies in like one go. No, don't ban me. I'm not a dwarf head. They just don't appeal to my aesthetics. That's okay. If I was in a worse mood, there would be a banning, but I'm in a good mood tonight. Orcs and goblins are cool though. I like fantasy, man. It feels more personal. It's more grounded. It's like sword and board in your face. You know, I'm not sitting 50 billion miles away from you, nuking your whole planet with like a gun you can't even fight against. It's I grew up with fantasy more so than 40K, so I've got more memories with it. But I love them. I love fantasy. Gone, 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 gone. They're supposed to be coming out with a new Dark Elf faction for Age of Sigmar. Forgot what they were called, but like all of these are getting shafted back to fantasy, which is good. Not to mention, they're literally on fantasy bases. We're not going to sit here and cope. Malekith's boys, yeah. One of each major alliance. That sounds like a lot of money. I've seen people who play a ton of Warhammer games because they have a Warhammer room, and they always have so many armies. I could never do that just because I love dwarves too much, but I can understand why you'd want something like that in your home. Been waiting for a while. Well, you know what the big kicker is with these new factions that are coming out? Realistically, what I think is they didn't want to go ahead with anything until the old world came back. So they have a reason to really come out with these things, right? Again, we don't want this in Age of Sigmar. We don't. We want the new ones in Age of Sigmar. If you want this, use it in fantasy. Realistically, that's how it should be. Well, yeah, you know. Now there is a reason to really give you new things because I don't think you should have bleed from like the fantasy minis are being sold for Age of Sigmar and fantasy as well. When you can have all of these updated, different looking characters that really suit the universe more. And it's not like some of these things can't be used in fantasy, but they definitely don't look the same. Dark Elves need to get the equivalent to the new Hedonites of Slaanesh models. What do you mean by that? They need like Updated range. Oh, yeah, for sure. 100%. Absolutely. And again, it's not like you can't get rid of the older minis. You just sell them back to Fantasy. I mean, for God's sake, these demons are used in 40k Fantasy and Age of Sigmar. This shit is used in 3 games. But they're demons. They're just the way they are. I think it works. Good thing about doing commissions is I get to paint a whole wide range of armies. Yeah, and then you get to bring them back to people and make money. That's always good. Making money's not a bad thing. Especially when you do... Reasoning to segregate the models in games is literally the reason why they completely axed the Beastmen. Yes, but I kind of was... Well, the interesting thing in that is... I talked about this before. Why? The only reason they wanted to get rid of the Beastmen immediately is because the range was complete and they could basically take everything out of Age of Sigmar and move it over without replacing it. What I would have thought... Well, I guess, I mean... Is it better late than never? Because I feel like the Beastmen obviously need a place in Age of Sigmar, but maybe not the exact miniatures. You know what I mean? Like, can we not update the sculpts? All the old shit goes into Fantasy. That's the holy shit, I'm coming out of retirement, baby. I've got this fucking all this retirement money. Let's go roll some dice back in my youth. That's kind of what it is. You know, it's like a boomer game. It's supposed to bank off of like Total War fans, which are new, and then the old Games Workshop Fantasy fans, which are old and angry, like me. But then why not update the Beastmen? Why completely axe the entire faction to put them into Fantasy without updating them first? Because they should be here. They should. I believe they should. Well, the reason they're doing it is for Fantasy, and it's probably because it isn't selling that well. There is no reason a gaming company would axe a bunch of stuff unless it wasn't doing good. Or again, you have a chance at putting it back in Fantasy. Because if you look at this stuff, to me, none of this looks Age of Sigmar. And it's not, because it's from Fantasy. Nothing here looks AOS. So what if you just came out with, you know, more Age of Sigmar looking Beastmen, however you want to do that, I don't know exactly. But these are all just Fantasy sculpts. Every time I see this, I'm like, it's Warhammer Fantasy. The Gores, the Ungores, like the Bulgors, Dragon Ogres, the fucking Jabberslith. Jabberslith. Fuck, this thing's weird. Yeah, you know what's weird is I thought the Chaos Minotaurs, you know the weird looking Chaos Minotaur things? I thought that was Beasts of Chaos. Like, I was looking at that. It's supposed to be Chaos, right? What are they called? These guys, the Ogroid Theridans. The Ogroid Theridons. This shit is a Beast of Chaos. Are we coping? They look like Beasts of Chaos. I like how they compare them to a fucking Space Marine. Like, guys, as an Age of Sigmar player, you know how big a fucking Primaris is. This is how big your dude is. Funny. It's like the universal measuring tool. The Primaris Marine. Yeah, Kragnos, yeah. I mean, the Games Workshop... I mean, to be honest, the world is falling apart. The Beasts of Chaos are dead. And I'm just happy to get my dwarves back. Kragnos is a little bit weird looking. Like, if I was to do... Destruction. Kragnos is very bizarre. Because he reads to me as more of a chaos unit, but he's like not. Look, what the hell is this? Bro's a giant beastman. Centaur. Goat thing. But no junk. The end of the empires. The end of empires. Well, the model's good. I'm not saying the model's bad by any means. It just does look... His design in relation to destruction. Well, that's what I'm saying. It doesn't look like a destruction unit. Old god of destruction, something primordial. I guess so. I mean, I would have liked to see something a little bit more generic. Like, you know, a big orc troll or something. But I don't really play orcs. Not anymore. Not in Age of Sigmar, at least. But they're cool. The Ard boys look great. I'm so glad they did this. Again, like, they took the Age of Sigmar Black Orcs and they put them back into fantasy, and then they came out with the Ard boys to replace them. That's what they should be doing. Because although these look like Black Orcs, it's like not a Black Orc. It's clearly what they would look like if they evolved. These are big. That's so cool. This literally looks like you can see the print lines on the shoulder. They're 3D printing. Printing. Look at his left shoulder pad. I see you, GW. It's cool though. And it looks extra cool with the Black Orc color scheme. Yeah, they are the regular infantry. Yeah. These look really good, though. They look like a worthy replacement for the Black Orcs. Skaven are getting a refresh, yeah. Well, here's the weird thing. So how are they going to make Skaven? Again, in my mind and in Games Workshop's mind, you want the distinction. You want, like, this is fantasy, this is Age of Sigmar. How do you redo the Skaven? How do the Skaven get redone? What is your generic Skaven clan rat? What does this look like in Age of Sigmar? Because to me, I don't know how you change this. Is it a bigger rat? Is it a smaller rat? It's more pathetic? Are they just constant? So, they look good. It's not that they don't look good. That's not what I'm talking about at all with any of these things. It's that I feel like they want Age of Sigmar to look Age of Sigmar and fantasy to look fantasy, like it's that evolution. It's like we started here and this is where we are now in the future. Like, how do you make this look Age of Sigmar? Because I really think you can't. It just looks perfect. It's what it's supposed to be. A degenerate, disgusting, piss-stained rat that people love. How do you make it different? Because it is perfect, in my opinion. Are there any exclusive Age of Sigmar Skaven? I don't think there is. Like, even this is just fantasy. Like, come on, that's fantasy. Just the gnaw hole. Maybe the Skaven are just... No. I don't know. Bony and human looking like cruel boys. You make them more gaunt. Still super surprised there's no 40k space rats. Well, there never was initially. Like, you used to have dwarves, right? The squats. That used to be a thing, so now they're Leagues of Votann. Certain things might just not translate well enough. Old world may not let you use storm fiends and vermin lords. They came through fantasy though. All of these were in fantasy at one point. But it also begs the question, what are they doing with the Gloomspite? The Imperium are the space rats. There you go. If you want to play Skaven, play the Imperium. They're end times models. Still fantasy. Fantasy, end times, that's still all not Age of Sigmar. Votan are alright. I actually was watching a guy stream, and I think Votan look better if you give them Arcanaut helmets. Nagash is the end time model, and he's not runnable. You can't use Nagash anymore? He's shafted? Really? Well, that's just a different time period. Oh, I know. Oh, sorry. I'm really stupid. I know what you mean. I'm stupid. I forgot. It's not fantasy. It's 200 years before, 300 years before. Yeah, I know what you mean. That's my bad. I know what you mean. It's not the end times. They weren't made yet. Yeah, makes sense. I get what you mean. Yeah. Any of the books of what? I mean, again, the Votan are fine, though. I just think they need more lore, and aesthetically, they don't really scratch that dwarf itch, but I think it's close enough. Like, there is no way you don't put helmets on your Iron here, Hearthguard, or any of your troops. Like, you can have their bare little bald heads hanging out, but I feel like for like the little, astronauty looking Space Marine helmet thing, StarCraft Marine helmet, I like the personality. It's missing a bit of like dwarven personality in their head. Everything else looks pretty dwarfy, big chunky, plates and whatnot, but they're supposed to be a practical thing. They don't need to look like fucking dwarves. For God's sake, they're not even dwarves to begin with. They're stunted humans who have cloned themselves over and over, right? Like, to me, this is in a good direction. It's still missing a little bit, but, nothing is stopping you from buying a different kit and using heads, right? Because if you took the Arcanaut company from Caradron Overlords and you started putting it on these guys, infinitely cooler. Infinitely cooler. Well, I mean, I think the design problem with this is I think when the Caradron Overlords came out, the biggest problem was that like, when the Caradron Overlords were coming out, they weren't thinking about Leagues of Votan. You know what I mean? So what if the Caradron Overlords didn't come out and they made the Leagues of Votan and then they meshed the Caradron design with these guys, right? I think to me that would have made them look pretty boss. But Votan are cute. They're a little funky looking. I don't think I've ever built Votan, but I do know that I have their range. But it's just cool. It's just cool to have back, right? Like, who the fuck would have thought squats would have come back? Space dwarves. Like, loose quotations. Space dwarves. That is cool. Like, what is that? What is his face? Bro, give him a goddamn beard. Save this man. Holy shit. It's a little weird seeing dwarves without beards. Like, they're synonymous with beards. Absolutely. But it's 40k. They don't have a religion based around their beard length. The Necromunda squat. Well, the Necromunda squat is, I would agree. Yeah, I'm a weirdo. I own the Rogue Trader like lead minis, the plastic minis, the little egg bots, the fucking elite guard dudes. They're just they're funky, man. They're funky and they're very appealing for some reason. But the Necromunda squat that they had brought out is like a 1-to-1 copy of the updated plastic minis. It was like, holy shit. We once did Space Dwarves and they looked a little goofy. Here is a single miniature that looks exactly like those guys as like a throwback. There he is. Grendel Grendelson, Squat Bounty Hunter. This looks exactly like the original minis. You know, a few minor tweaks, but like the helmet's pretty much the same. I believe they wore flak. What was it called? Flak vests. It looks good. And it even has the beard. Come on. Like, and it's got the little, like, ancestor heads and shit. Or at least his belt buckle does. That's cool. From some old art. Well, I mean, the squats didn't have big beards. The living ancestors and all the higher ups had big beards, but like the typical plastic squats that they brought out, yeah, there wasn't really beards. Oh, were you talking about this? Oh, we're looking at whatever. We're just talking. We're chilling. Some of the Lord of the Rings dwarves just have big mustaches and chops. The minis? Or are you talking like the Hobbit stuff? Well, again, dwarves, their religion, their way of life isn't centered around beards in those settings. In 40k, it's not a beard. In the Hobbit, like the Lord of the Rings, it's not a beard, right? It's only in Warhammer Fantasy where they made beards and, you know, braided hair for the women kind of like a sign of respect, or rather wisdom. You know, the longer the beard, the more braided hair, the more respect you get, right? Like you've been around, you've seen all this shit. Where is... There we go. Has a Doom. I mean, these guys got big-ass beards. I think it was only the Hobbit guys that didn't. Realistically, Thorin's company. I mean, Khazad Doom is like your typical Lord of the Rings dwarf. Like, this is good. Big beards, shit tons of armor. Like, it's just great. The aesthetic is so typical dwarf. Can't go wrong with it. Talking about the books. Oh, you're talking about the books. Well, I can't help you there. Either way, though, everyone's into a different aesthetic. As long as you like it, and it's great, that's all that matters. The dwarf minis are good. Peter Jackson looks... But the Peter Jackson look that the tabletop game uses is pretty good still. Oh, you're talking about the aesthetic of the books instead of... Yeah, like all of this stuff is based on, well, outside of this, the screen, right? Because like the only reason I'm pretty sure Middle-earth took off was because it was around when the movies came out. Like they got the license and then they produced minis that looked exactly like the movies, which I think is the way to go about it. You know, there are, I think, minis that represent like the book adaptation in description, but it's just something to work from, and it works. Like nobody sits around and says, "Man, Lord of the Rings is ugly." Copium. Nobody says that, right? That's just weird. So it would make sense to make things based on the movie. So it's like, and even then, man, I have so many good memories. I used to, there used to be two Games Workshops. If you know Toronto, there used to be one in Fairview Mall, and there used to be one in the Scarborough Town Center, both of which are like a 10-minute drive from one another. And I remember seeing The Return of the King in theaters. And as soon as we left the theater, I'm like, holy shit, the Rohirrim, the Men of Gondor, all that crap. They had the Shelob, blah, 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 blah. And you'd leave the movie theater in the mall, and you'd go to the Games Workshop in the mall, and you'd instantly see the board set up with all the Lord of the Rings minis, and you were fucking hooked. That's crazy. It's just so good. Super, super good. And it kind of sucks that like Lord of the Rings since the movies hasn't really been as popular. Like I love the look of Lord of the Rings, but realistically people are more into like 40K, Age of Sigmar, stuff like that. I think most of the hype around Lord of the Rings came with the movies, and it still lives on. Absolutely, it's timeless. Same thing with Middle Earth and all that stuff. But you really don't see much in the way of Lord of the Rings. And if you do see anything Lord of the Rings related in a Games Workshop, it's a very small part of the store. So in the Scarborough Town Center, when I used to go, same thing with Fairview, the left side of the wall was fantasy, the right side was 40K, and the back side of the store was Lord of the Rings, which was always the smallest. They didn't really try to keep it popular since the Hobbit trilogy TV show. I think they just slept on it. It's like, how do we do anything with this franchise? The Lord of the Rings trilogy, amazing. The Hobbit trilogy, I liked it. It was all right. And then after that, they're like, yeah, what do we do? I think there's been a bunch of talk in terms of, they did the Rings of Power. Whatever you say about it, the music is good. The dwarves are cool. And they're going to do season 2. And outside of Lord of the Rings content, I don't think there's anything, man. I think that's just it. More books they can go off of. I think the movies are king. When it comes to making anything Lord of the Rings, you'd have to go back to those movies. Like, this is perfect. This looks exactly like what you saw on screen, right? It's amazing. Maybe I'm just, like, super bent on nostalgia, but you can't make this better. The trebuchet is perfection, right? 80% of everything on display was Lord of the Rings. Really? Maybe it was for, when the movies were out, again, that's probably why. Lord of the Rings still has more love than 30K, though. Horus Heresy has great books, and that's it. Well, I guess the Horus Heresy was more of like a niche thing. It was a niche within a niche. It's like, you like Warhammer, 40K, that's great. Or you like Warhammer, 40K, and then the Horus Heresy, right? Whereas Lord of the Rings wasn't necessarily a niche. It was big, mainline, like, worldwide success. Everyone knew of it. Everyone loved it. So it makes sense that it would have more support, Because Games Workshop just has the license, right? They're just producing miniatures and a miniature game for Lord of the Rings. It's not like they made it up like the Horus Heresy. Plenty of book material to draw from, but they either refuse or change it for some reason. You talking about Lord of the Rings minis? I think it's also just keeping the aesthetic, like a continuity thing. Because, like, if you go off and start, like, bringing out sculpts from books and stuff like that, like, that would be cool. Don't get me wrong, that's really cool, but maybe it might clash to a degree. Or maybe Lord of the Rings, maybe it's just not popular enough to where the miniature game, maybe it's not popular enough to where it's not feasible to make miniatures, right? Like, the latest thing they had done was Osgiliath. And Osgiliath is giving you all the old minis with a few new ones. And it's cool. Osgiliath is a great setting, you know, a little bit of battle in the movie, obviously, but they gave you Faramir, the other guy, and the other guy. I don't even know their fucking names. And then they gave you Gothmog and Gothmog on foot. Faramir, this guy, and this guy. That's all I know, bro. I don't know their names. Corsairs are just from the books, I'm pretty sure, but they have models here. Corsairs were in the movies. The course you see the Corsairs in the third movie when they arrive at whatever those docks were, right outside Gondor. I mean, Peter Jackson also cameoed in that scene as a Corsair. He's like the big fat guy who walks around and Legolas shoots his bow, and Gimli kind of like tips it off so it hits him instead of missing, like a warding shot. Elrond's father fought a continent-sized dragon on a flying longboat. Did he really? I don't know if that would. I don't know if that worked for like miniatures, but you know, maybe you could draw some art of it. Like, yeah, you know, like I'm pretty sure the biggest Middle Earth mini is Smog, and Smog is like $600. And be it, he looks cool as shit, but 420 British pounds. It's cool. It's just not feasible. The ones in purple, though? Are you talking about the Corsairs? The guys who... Corsairs of Umbar? These dudes? Yeah, these were in the movies. They were in the third movie. Yeah, these guys were in the third movie. I love the Lord of the Rings minis. They're so... Just, you watch the movie and then you're like, yeah, I got these. They have Smog on Warhammer, or sorry, they have a Smog on display at Warhammer World. I'd hope so. I'd hope they have everything on display at Warhammer World. Like you have all of your big premiere minis, you know, your big expensive. Look at this thing; it's $1,000. It's also painted. It's $3,000 now. Yeah, you can't use them. The scale is very odd. Again, just wait for your militia to come back, bro. Buy the militia, make your pirates. Well, Lord of the Rings is like your typical, very classic fantasy, like D&D and all that stuff too. But it is the most grounded of all, for sure. When it comes to this stuff, that's why it's so good. It's just not far fetched. It's not too over the top, and everything is just as it is. A dwarf is a dwarf, a human's a human, an elf's an elf. There's no like mingling and making an elf more a dwarf and whatnot. Warriors of Erebor. People. Oh, it's like militia. Not militia. They look like a bunch of militia. For some reason, images don't work. I thought you'd like them. I think the biggest reason I'm not really a fan of the aesthetic of Lord of the Rings dwarves, in turn, like Erebor, I think it's just I really like the personalized. My father's father made this helmet with his toes, and it's blessed by Grungni himself. It's one of a kind, unique. I think I like that aesthetic more. Where in Lord of the Rings, it's like here are a bunch of helmets, shields, armor, you know, all made to look the same, so on and so forth. I like the personalized, like, individualism that dwarves have in fantasy. That's what makes them so cool. Because it's not like they represent their clan, their past, their family, so on and so forth, right? Everything is just a hand-me-down. I'm sure there could be multiple helmets that look the same, but like this to me feels more of a like a legitimate army instead of a bunch of people coming together to like defend their home. Although these people clearly are, right? Well, these are a little bit more unique. You know, less helmet, less gear. I mean, they got spears, dwarves with spears. Ooh, little sussy. I don't know what this guy's doing. Okay. This guy don't even have a mustache. Haven't the dwarves peaked by the time the Hobbit is shown? They did peak. What you talking about? Peaking during the Hobbit series? Because some of the coolest shit with dwarves on screen is absolutely the Battle of the Five Armies, right? But I guess also for like the sake of Erebor being, wasn't it the richest of all holds or kingdoms, whatever you want to call it? It was one of them. Because I know Moria had Mithril, Erebor had just gold or something. I forgot exactly. My memory's a bit fucked, but Gimli's helmet is Glowin's helmet. Yeah, it's his father's. Make food. Make things in the freezer. The Arkenstone. Well, I'm talking. Well, I was talking more of like the. What do they delve in the most? Like, are they mining for gold? Like, what is it exactly that hold is known for? Probably just gold. I mean, if you looked at anything in the movies and shit, like Thorin's walking around in like a fucking kingdom of coins. Moria was unique. Moria did have, again, it had Mithril, it had the Belrog, and it's like, well, we're fucked. A little later tonight, yeah. 20 minutes. Yeah, 20 minutes. Shadow of Mordor? Yeah. What do you think of his sensei, a dwarf from Delicious in... What? What do you think of Senshi, a dwarf from Delicious in Dungeon? He's a dwarf that cooks instead of mines. I have absolutely no idea what you just said. That's cool, though, I guess. It's an anime on Netflix. I mean, what do I think of him? Senshi. I mean, he looks like a dwarf. Looks good to me. I'm not watching the anime, though. I mean, it's a dwarf. Guess that's what could be said, right? It's a dwarf. It's a dwarf. Moria fell, and then Erebor became the greatest. And then Erebor fell, and then Erebor got reclaimed. And then they tried to reclaim Moria, and Moria... Did Moria ever get reclaimed? Oh, we played the video game. Of course it did. Right? Obviously. Is that game even canon? No way. Can't be. It's a cool idea, though. They tried to reclaim it with some of the people from Thorin's company, who were, I suppose, originally from Moria. They went back to reclaim it, and they all died. I mean, that's why you have Balin's tomb. They took it for a little bit, and then, you know, bad things did happen, and people didn't make it. Yeah. I mean, that's cool, though. I mean, you know, typical dwarven fashion. They're too giga chad. They're too giga greedy. They have all the best arms and weapons, like shields and armor, and their holds are impenetrable. And then it's like, well, we fucked up somewhere. We're dead. And then everyone gets pissed, and we're, later in the line, they're always back to kind of like reclaim it. Very typical dwarf. I believe they're making a game about it. Yes, it's already been released, and I already beat it on stream with people. It's not that good. I don't think it's canon. The concept was cool, though. Before Gimli goes off to, like, the Undying Lands, he summons all the dwarves back together. Retake your home, right? Retake the kingdom. So he sends everyone in. They decline because of their stagnation. They don't change, so the world moves on without them. It's kind of a Giga Chad statement, though. Like, why do we change for time? Right? It's worked always. Why change? And then they always fucking end up dying anyways. That's like, I mean, bro, that's typical dwarf. Well, the game was okay. I mean, dwarves do, some of the greatest things that would have saved the dwarves in fantasy is probably just let the Engineers Guild go crazy. Seriously. Like, you're sitting here neglecting all of these things or looking over a fucking little rivet that a guy put together in a machine that can pump in water. And they're like, my ancestors didn't make the rivet this way. I'm going to give it 3 centuries. I'll let you know. And it's like, seriously? Like, yeah, when it comes to that shit and innovation, they're terrible. But when they do get it down right, I mean, for fuck's sake, look at the gyrocopter. Who the fuck messes with a gyrocopter? It's a fucking helicopter in Warhammer Fantasy. It shoots scalding hot steam or, like, I forgot what the brimstone gun was, but big bolts of, like, big shots of something. I mean, it's crazy to think that, like, how the hell do you not stop a dragon in fantasy? You've got helicopters. You've got guns. You've got cannons. If there's any race in fantasy that's good at putting down a beast, like a dragon, it's probably the dwarves. Right? But the dragons always plague the dwarves, the gold and everything, right? Like, if Erebor had guns, Smog fucking peeks his head through the gate, 50,000 shotguns go off, 3,000 cannons. Like, Smog's head is just gone. But instead it was an arrow, and that's cool. Cooperating with others wouldn't hurt either. I mean, ever played DRG? DRG Survivor? No. I've played DRG, though. But in terms of Return to Moria, I don't think what made the game great was that it was Lord of the Rings, and you could play it with a bunch of friends, and it was just fun to kind of, like, fuck around and retake Moria with a bunch of people on comms, We had a full team of people playing that game. It was awesome. The gameplay itself was a little rough, but you forget about that because you're having fun. More fast-paced with mining and combat. It was a cheapish game. I don't think it was even full price. I think it was really, really cheap for a reason. It followed a very generic formula, It gave you Moria, Lord of the Rings, like, skin of another game. I don't think it was an indie game. I could be wrong. Again, I liked it. I thought it was fun, but I believe it was $40. How much were they charging for Gollum when it first came out? Was it 60? $40 usually entails AA, AAA, Quadra A gaming. I need to see the gnomes really quickly. The gnome dice are sold out. There goes my retirement fund. The gnomes are sold out already, really. Bro, he got that goose. He got that goose. I love how in Blood Bowl everyone is supposed to be so dangerous, and the one thing this fucking gnome brings is a goose and some pathetic little like knuckle knife, whatever you want to call this thing. But like his shoes are pointier than the blade. Like probably not as dangerous, but yeah. Like, I mean, Blood Bowl is just fun. It's so stupid, but that's why it's amazing. You know? That's great. That's awesome. You've got little foxes that take the ball. I like this. Looks like a dwarf. Kind of looks like a dwarf. A mischievous band of tricksters and their many woodland friends. It's a good-looking kit. I'm never going to own it because I don't want to, but, you know. Maokai sapling. Well, they have the tree man. This is literally Maokai, and you can't tell me otherwise. This is legit Maokai. It's like the same size and everything. The same silhouette. Want me to convert one into Maokai? Wouldn't be hard. I don't want it. Who wants a Maokai miniature? Very fun, though. It's very, very fun. Rodney Roachbait. Something went wrong. We can't show you Rodney Roachbait. Oh, yes, you can. Fuck. It's great. It's really good. I'm pretty sure. I mean, Snotlings are easily the worst faction in Blood Bowl. Obviously, they're Snotlings. I wonder how Gnomes fare. Because there is... What if you went to a tournament and you played Snotlings and you won? Is that a real outcome? They do have pump wagons. Is that really enough? I haven't even seen the rules, but like just knowing how Snotlings are. Imagine the Snotlings up against the Black Orc team. Like the Black Orc would literally pick one up, scrunch him into a booger, and like flick him. I haven't read the rules. I haven't played Blood Bowl in a little while. What, the pump wagons, can they really? It's the only way for them to play. Is just make sure the pump wagon isn't out of the game. Slice and dice the ankles. He's ankle height. Yeah, I guess so. We chop some fucking tendons. It's more like the Treant Protector from Dota. I mean, I'm pretty sure some of the people who make minis, like design minis, obviously they've seen some stuff. Like, you're going to tell me that guy, the little fucking, you know, gnome tree man, you're telling me he's never seen Maokai. Maybe it's just a good coincidence. But I think for the most part, Blood Bowl is just like, it's just good. It's just fun. It's not for everyone. Obviously, it really isn't for everyone, but I think for the people who do like it, it's pretty cool. And it's been around for a long ass time. Ivern is cool. I mean, Ivern is like just an emaciated tree man. Stop. Or are these all the new... Wait. These are the new pre-orders? No. What? I swear to God I've seen these things 3,000 years ago. They really didn't... Man. I guess you do kind of wait a long-ass time for stuff, no? Oh, they're selling it from the... Okay, makes sense, my bad. I was going to say, why the hell is it not... They're even selling... Oh, never mind. Oh. Blood Bowl is what the British think American football is. It's American football through the lens of, like, a British person in fantasy. That's what it is. Except you can kill people and do a bunch of crazy shit. I'm debating getting the chainsaw guy for my undead Blood Bowl team. They're selling all this stuff separate. Oh, yeah, you already said that. I mean, look, dude, if you got the money, go for it, man. You got one life. If you want it and you have the money, just fucking buy it. I will sit here and promote unhealthy purchases. Because you either get it now, or if you still want it in the future, you get it too late. You know? Brits are afraid of a little concussive head trauma. I heard it's not good for your health. The vampire pirate lady? Blood Bowl? Who are you talking about? Talking about the old metal mini? Pirate in Blood Bowl. This chick. I mean, yeah. All right. Okay. Yeah. Too bad there's no coast team in Blood Bowl. They can shoot the ball using a cannon. I mean, for God's sake, there's even a fucking undead dwarf. An undead dwarf Blood Bowl player. What a cursed thing. I just realized he's holding another person's arm who has the ball. I thought he just had a really long arm. I literally thought the guy had a big fucking arm the whole time. Okay, I need different music. Hi, Mochi. What are you doing? Baby Mochi. Hello. Hello. Baby Mochi is here. You like chin scratches, Baby Mochi? Like this? The new Kill Team box is already out of stock. Where are you from? US? You're an American? Where do you even navigate to buy new things? Here? No. No. Where do you... It's not 40K? Kill Team. New and exclusive. Oh, it was right there. I like the old website. I'm not going to sit here and cope. The old website was better. Back in my day, everything was better. The miniatures were metal. The mandrakes are new sculpts, right? I honestly thought, looking at them, that they were just the multi-part plastic kit. Or no, they weren't even plastic originally. They were metal to fine cast, right? So this is the first time they're plastic. How edgy. They're unique sculpts, yeah. Yeah. This is like Hot Topic the box. You have the Space Marine edgelords and you have the Elven edgelords. They look good though. These look definitely much better. Like, who the fuck's gonna want the resin sculpts when these come out, right? And be it they're good looking, but like, these are plastics. They're all really good. The thing is, though, with these boxes, are you being sold on the idea of one side of the set, and that's why you need to buy them right now? Or are you interested in everything? Because I feel like a lot of people get ahead of themselves, and it's FOMO, fear of missing out, right? Where you're like, I need this. I need it right now. It's out. And it's just like, well, if you wait, 2 months, you'll be able to get it alone and for much cheaper. And I know you probably don't even want the other side of the set, let alone the terrain or all the paperwork. I'll get the other box if you want the other fit. Yeah. People do that. People buy it and then kind of like trade them up. I want both, but I also just want the mandrakes for my Drakari. Yeah. I mean, yeah. People can now make Night Lords for like, if they play Chaos Space Marines, standard Night Lord units. Because that's really all it is, right? It's like you take 40k minis and you can play them in a different game. But it's still 40k. Have you checked Element Games? Typical Element Games might have them, right? Not to mention you get a discount. Like, I don't even know how much in terms of 140, but maybe like 110, $30 off. Even, game stores get their stuff early too. Every time I'm looking at like Facebook game posts from, a local game store and whatnot, they always get their stock in early. And I've seen people walk out of the stores with it, so I guess it's just more of like looking around. Finding things that you want early and for a discount. Nightmare. Who's edgier? An edgy competition with the Night Lords. Interesting, though. I don't think I'll be playing any kill team personally, not anytime soon. But the minis are good. Like, can you not use this in 40k? These are some amazing, like, very standard Trader Guardsmen. You can. So, didn't they just redo the Chaos book? They did, right? Like, very recently, too, during the latest reveals. So does proxies, yeah. I mean, this was like a fever dream. Because I think for the longest time, Trader Guardsmen were really only in Forge World. You had cultists, but not guardsmen, you know? Because those cultists came out, I think, way back when, right? Chaos cultist. Yeah, he's all monopose. Pretty cool looking. This is just the shit you fight in Darktide. Well, it's the other stuff as well. What are they called? Poxwalkers? Something? Generic, like, Zombie goons. They announced it, but it's not out yet. Yeah. You know, that kind of sucks, man. Every time I see those events, I'm like, available for purchase now. You know, because the first thing I'm doing when I see those fucking pre-orders go up is, boom, Dwarven Mountain holds. Done. Buying. Not buying all of them, but like, I'd love to see some good stuff. Absolutely. Kill Team Box was announced in December, so now they're getting around to doing it. So December, January, February, March, April. Holy fuck, 4 months? Fucking hell. When did they... Okay, hang on. They never did a reveal for the greenskins. They only showed them in an article, and then they brought them out. Does anyone know how long that took? 4 months, and it sold out in 10 seconds. Yeah, people remember. People want them. I've been thinking of making a Bretonnian army for the old world. If you like it, go for it, man. The one thing I do like about the old world, outside of everything, is that squads are bigger. Boys, 30 to a mob. 30 plus to a mob. I don't know if it's the same for peasants. They don't even sell peasants alone. Like, what? Hello? The only way to buy Bretonnia is the big box set. Or, like... What? What? How many men-at-arms do you get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15, 18, 36? 36 men-at-arms and, like, what? 20 peasants? 20 peasant bowmen? I mean, I guess it still boils down to how many you want per squad when you do points, implying you want to play the game, which not everyone does. I don't blame you. But are they showing us the sprue? Man, the old GW sprues are so... Okay, look at the old GW sprue space. Look at the space. Mochi, do you see this shit? You see this shit? You saw it? Crazy. It's not retconned. It's basically fantasy, but like 200 years before, or 300 or something. It's a previous time in fantasy. You know what I mean, Mochi? You know what I'm talking? What's your favorite faction? You like the dwarves, right? You like dwarves? That's my buddy. My buddy Mochi. You like dwarves? I'm not a bro. I'm not a dwarf. I'm 6 feet tall. I'm a big dude. I'm a massive, humongous individual, width and vertical. Yeah, kind of weird with not being able to bring out, like, it's very strange to me how they don't sell you the individual squads. The only way to get peasants or men-at-arms is to purchase the box set. That's kind of dumb. But then for the orcs, they're like, nah, don't worry about it, dude. We're going to sell you boys separate. That's so weird. So is this essentially a 2,000 point army? Is this everything you need to play the game? I don't think so. Because it's like, how do you even continue? How do you continue to make an army with one box? Yeah. It's weird. That's weird for something like this. Because this is supposed to be the relaunch of fantasy, right? And they don't want, like, you can buy Knights of the Realm on foot, which, okay, sure, it's a great addition, but, like, maybe you want more men at arms. Maybe you want more, peasant bowmen. Yeah, it is a little weird. It's a little weird. I'm surprised they just didn't come back with like all of the individual units, right? Because it's so strange to me that this is a collection of everything for a discounted price. Everything realistically will be more separate. And you're not selling Knights. Oh, they are selling Knights of the Realm. Never mind. And there's wait, they're selling everything separate but men at arms and peasants. So I'm just wrong. I guess the basic troops just aren't here. Set release schedule. You'd think that like most of the Bretonnian stuff would be released by now. Am I wrong in thinking that? I feel like they all should be out. You could do waves of stuff like that, but even the Tomb Kings. See what I mean? Oh, that's kind of a cool idea. Wait, can you just build them all as... Oh, you can. Okay. It's the same kit. Wait, so they're selling the Tomb Kings? Hang on. Maybe I'm coped and it's just the US website. I have to go to Brexit right now. No, the men at arms just don't even exist. You think they're goofy looking? I love them. Listen, I'm going to sit here and cope and say that these are better looking than Age of Sigmar. I said it. It is what it is. I like them. It's just so fantasy. It's very rooted in nostalgia, but it is... They're chunky. They're definitely chunky. But they have that charm. And charm is like the number one thing that draws me to minis. Like that's a thick sash, right? With the quiver. You even have to glue it over their torsos. Okay, I've never seen this kit, at least on Sprue. I love it, dude. What a throwback. 36 in a box. It looks just like as it did eons ago. Even the Necrosphinx, like these Necrosphinx were selling for like $300 on eBay for damn near 10 years. That's crazy. It's so insane to me that they gutted this range. Look how insanely good this looks. And they said, fuck you, goodbye. You're never buying it again. How could you shaft this? That's crazy to me. It looks so good. Like, the paint job, of course, like, elevates it, but holy fuck. These are old, new products. These were made when the dinosaurs roamed the earth, and they were sold, like, for X amount of time, and then they completely threw them out, and now they brought them back. Well, painting all of the what is that, jade stuff? Yeah, they're doing all the fantasy stuff again. They put so much effort into the old world, yet are giving it no support. What do you mean giving it no support? They are playable. This is a completely playable faction, yes. They brought back the Tomb Kings. You can play them right now. You could play them in tabletop. All of them are coming back. Or a number of them coming back. Not keeping stuff in stock. I guess it takes, well, not keeping stuff in stock, like, I don't know how fast they can keep making things, right? I have no idea. Tomb Kings are incredibly tempting besides Bretonia. What about the dwarves? The coolest fantasy race. Like, this looks great, but you can also have a guy the size of this thing's fucking, like, toenail covered in hair and armor, and it's even cooler. It's true. Very true. Chaos dwarves. I'm failing my viewers. I'm supposed to be shilling for dwarves. I'm failing them. Let's go take a look at the dwarves. You can't, but you can, because, like, they're in Age of Sigmar. Listen, the dwarves are coming back to fantasy. You just got to give them a bit of time. They just got shown. That's all I'm waiting on now. Like, look at these, dude. The designs of the Tomb Kings were so cool. Like, they're disgusting because they're not dwarves, but, like, it's fucking cool. Look how creepy that is, right? Like, what the fuck is this? What is this? It's just cool. I shill all things undead. They're lame. But they're cool. Vampire counts are cool. Adeptus Mechanicus. You know what's not cool? Their price per point. You get to buy less minis, save money, buy more Warhammer. Amazing. Cetra's on the biggest base ever fucking made. No, this is Tomb Kings. These are the old Tomb Kings. Fucking you Shabti great bows. This is the death of every dwarf ever. At least in Total War. Tomb Guard. The Lich Priest, the Tomb Swarms. Is this the big bone dragon thing? That's cool. The chariots. I love the look of these, like, horses that look straight up out of, like, the Nightmare Before Christmas. If they had horses. It's just so, like, look at their legs, right? Like, come on. It's goofy fun. It's goofy fun. They look like pool noodles. These look like Lego horses. You're just a hater. These were hand sculpted, by the way. Yeah, that's a little goofy. A bone riding a bone. But it's very cool. It's fantasy. It's awesome. I mean, they don't need a saddle. It's just bone on bone. Everything together always looks fucking amazing. Whenever you paint minis and you've got single miniatures standing alone like this, you're like, it's kind of not that good. And then you look over at your 30 years of work and you're like, damn, it looks good together, though. Especially the big centerpiece mini. Like, you'll have all these little dinky infantry walking around and then the big fucking, like, boner dragon. This thing up here is crazy. This little, like, canopy. Like, cat and everything. Holy shit. Classic minis. A fractured tailbone and a fractured spine in one package? What a steal. Cheesehead Twitch. Yeah, that has no place in this game. Or anywhere. And they even brought back templates. Sweet. The skeletal horse sprues. 2 pieces. Awesome. I can understand why a lot of new, people who come to the hobby and they look at old world stuff and they're like, man, that's so ugly. And I'm just like, if you were from when it was out, it has that charm and it has that big nostalgia factor for it. And it's just excellent. I will never look at like anything fantasy and say it's ugly. Well, these are old minis that were made and produced at one point and sold that are being resold again, essentially. Like, I'm pretty sure you can even look at the year in which they were sculpted on the sprue, unless they shaved it off. So, if there's a sprue here, you can see exactly when it was made. I'm just going to say it's around 2006 for some of them. Right there. 2002. Okay, never mind. Pretty close, though. 2002. So these were made in, 2001, whatever, casted 2002, or unless that's just like the year they were all done. Yeah. But the craziest thing is that if you give them a good paint job, they still look great. Like, this doesn't look bad. It's painted really well. And if you rank them all up, it's just the Tomb Kings. It looks good, in my opinion. Yeah, I'll see you, buddy. These guys are as old as my younger sister. The shield looks like flip-flops. I can't see that. Plastic is what you want. No, people don't like working with resin. People love working with plastic. When it comes to minis, you always want to work with plastic. Plastic is the best thing because it's super easy to clean up. You can cut it up and make it look different. You can just do so many things with it. Whereas, like, metal is a bit harder and, you don't want to sit there and saw through it and then you got to pin it because it's too heavy. Resin is just, Forge World resin, the stuff they use now is good. The stuff they previously used still good for Forge World, but like the biggest problem with resin was fine cast. So fine cast was what they replaced metal minis with. So instead of them being cast in like the white metal that they had or whatever, they're like, we're going to give you more detail. We're going to make it more expensive. It's a higher quality product. Enjoy it. You bought that shit, and it was like a giant air bubble where his head should be. And then they sold you a product to fix it. And the product was ass. It didn't fix it. So it's like they created problems, charged you more, and then charged you to fix the problems. And it sucked ass. Nobody likes Finecast. Finecast, if it was once made in metal, it was made in Finecast. Then they discontinued it. For this range, they could have brought it back with Finecast if it was metal. But I believe for the sake of nostalgia and what people want, they're recasting all of the metal minis in metal. Any of the individual sculpts, I think these are metal. The Tomb Swarms, the Ushabti Great Bows are all metal. A metal kit. 3 Ushabti Great Bows. Yep. So I think at one point this would have been Finecast when they made that transition. And it's not a good thing. It is what it is. Yeah. These are plastic, metal and plastic, metal. Painted very goddamn well. Those legs, brother. Yeah, eat a Big Mac. I could use a Big Mac. Holy shit, I'm hungry. I am going to be ending stream in about 5 to 10 minutes, I think. Reminds me of the Pit Lords from World of Warcraft. I mean, you'll see influences everywhere to something, I'm sure. Look at his back. God, it's beautiful. Super well sculpted. Well, here's to hoping the dwarves come back sometime soon and they can take money out of my fucking bank account for the first time since Votan. Nostalgia's a bitch. And Games Workshop always knows how to make money off of people. Tell you. XQC figure. They likely will. Yeah, they will. Everything is just time. It's always time. You know, as much as you want something right now, they're just sitting on all that stuff. They're like producing it and, you know, thinking of new things to come out. Because, like, what we're seeing as new and exclusive to them is like old and needs to be out one day, right? Because I'm sure there's so many things they're working on. And of course, we'll never know. We don't have the in at Games Workshop, but it is crazy to know that, like... What are you doing? Shit on the carpet. I gotta go, guys. My dog just shit on the carpet. That's bad. Age for, like, a little bit. I will be on tomorrow. We'll be streaming on both channels. Mochi, that's bad. If she comes out here, she's gonna be pissed. Good luck with the cleanup. I can see it right now. It's just a hard turn. Like, it's okay. Yeah, I gotta go. I will see you guys tomorrow. We'll be on the main channel playing League and then Signalis, and then I'll be here maybe just chatting again. That's typically what we do. Until I have access to my actual hobbying stuff come June, July, we're probably just going to be chilling on this channel, not really doing much outside of like talking and playing games. I will be, however, at my hobby setup at the end of this month. I have 2 weeks. Maybe I will be able to do a bit of hobbying, but chances are I'll be too busy cleaning or getting things ready for June, July when we actually like move back. So, yeah. Anyways, that's it for me, folks. Be well, stay safe. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it as always. Have yourselves a great night. Stay safe, and I will see you tomorrow. Peace, everyone. Peace, peace. I'm looking forward to that. Me too, buddy. It has been years in the making. This is the first time I'll be able to sit down and finally do hobbying or like even be on this channel doing something indefinitely. Because usually it's like you get on the main channel, you do stuff, and then you get on this channel, you do stuff. But right now it's like I have access to the games on the main channel, and on this channel it's not really anything. Not yet.